Hello and welcome to this new special episode of Continuum Gaming, this time around accompanying the episode 230 of Continuum Gaming, and today, as always in English of course, with the special episodes. This time around, as you can see, we are going to replace the motherboard of a broken 950 XL because I had a little bit of an incident. There was just this little problem that my Lumia 950 XL wouldn't boot up again after me playing with the partitions of it. So I had Windows 10 ARM on it, and for that I really chunked off a lot of the disk space there. And after a while I couldn't free up any more memory, and so I thought, hey, why not try to use a partition manager on my Lumia 950 XL and try to decrease the sizes of the different parts there. And that alone would have maybe functioned, or would have be functional, but the problem about that all is that I had to more or less shift those partitions too, and shifting wasn't a good idea, especially because my smartphone just went blank, so the battery was really low, and after a while, and it took a couple of hours to do that, and when I woke up and I thought, hey, now it has to be done and everything should be fine and stuff like that. Yeah, the problem was, it wasn't. My smartphone had turned off itself by low battery, of course. And that was the whole story there. So after that it was broken, bricked, and I couldn't reactivate it. It wasn't even turning on, even after charging it for hours and stuff like that. So it really was a bricked smartphone. And I was very sad about that, of course. But the good thing about it is, there was another incident I had before, that's a couple of years already from now, and I had a spider app issue, so my screen was broken, of course. And so I bought a second Lumia 950 XL. It was used, of course, but I used that one because the screen of that one was fine. But the good thing about it is I had another Lumia 950 XL lying around, and so I took out my old whatever Lumia 950 XL and exchanged the two motherboards to get the bricked phone more or less working again. And I exchanged a couple of other things too, so now I have a smartphone which is more or less a hybrid of the two smartphones I already had. And I just used the best things of both worlds there. And so let's have a look how I did that. And just to let you know, this is going to be a pretty long video because I'm really doing all the stuff with you together. And so just feel free to skip ahead if you want to. At the end, I would like to ask you to vote which kind of cover I should put on, because I have two of them. At the moment I'm already using it with one of the covers, but please let me know which one you prefer, and so you might want to just tell me which one I should use. And then let's start with the first steps, and I'm jumping in a little bit, but we are doing all the steps 2 times, so you are not going to miss anything. And let's start then. So here you can see how a Lumia 950 XL is looking from the inside if you get rid of the bracket and a couple of other things there. This is the other Lumia 950 XL I still have. As you can see, I marked them all, so I can really see which parts I would like to have in the new one. So here's one of the parts which is not going to be in the new one. Of course, if you have a look at that, there are a lot of different screws I already got rid of in this one. So this is of course the back cover of it. And as you can see, this was my first one I had. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but there are a couple of different scratches and stuff like that. And those scratches are pretty deep, so they really killed the display in this case. But the smartphone itself, the rest of it, so everything that is outside of the display, should be functional very nicely, because I can even put it into Continuum mode and work with it there. But it's not going to be seeable, because no display available for that. Sorry for the camera angle and stuff like that. I'm really more concerned about getting this all right, because it's the first time I do that for such a smartphone, than doing this video. I hope you still like it, but just to let you know. Okay, so as you can see, I got rid of the battery, of course. Same thing here. It is marked as a good battery and a bad battery, because one of them is really just broken, or very, very low capacity in the end now. And yeah, as mentioned before, we need to use the motherboard of this kind of smartphone. I'm pretty sure that the camera and stuff like that would work too, but the most important thing is a motherboard you can see here, because the motherboard is hosting all the informations like the internal storage and stuff like that. I'm not sure which of the ICs and so on would be the one that is really handling that, but we're not going to talk about that in this case, because we really just want to get rid of this screen in this case. So the screen needs to go and should be replaced with the screen of that one. The good thing about it is that, for instance, my buttons here are pretty worn down on this device, I think too. Let's see if I can. This is a bracket I got rid of, so if you put this on here again, you can see it would be the cover, which is of course on this still. The buttons are pretty worn down. Should be somewhere here, I'm not sure. They are more or less at this space, so if we put this back on, it would be over here. So give me a sec, I'm trying to show it to you. I already opened a couple of things here, so I really have to be patient with it, but there they are. And they are already pretty worn down, and because of that, I'm a little bit happy that I can use this motherboard and this bracket and stuff like that instead. So this is the one I'm going to use here, as you can see. Yeah, so next thing to do is I would like to lift it up. As you can see, I have a couple of different things here. So here are all the screws. I positioned them more or less like they are. That is just in case that one of the screws is of a different shape, different size or something. But as you can see, all of them are more or less looking the same. Very, very small screws. I have this little part here, or this little tool I have here. It's not from iFixit or something, but it's a pretty cool box I have, visible here. So we have a couple of different working helpers here, or work helpers here. So we have this kind of more or less a tool where you can put it in between stuff and try to get stuff out with. Here's a smaller one of that too. There is this, I think it's scissors, no, don't know, you know what it is. This kind of tool is in there too, very, very helpful. And very sharp at the top, so they even put in some kind of a coverage for that. And on the other side, if you close this down, and I just go to this part, there are a lot of different bits for this tool, so I really have close to any kind of possibility here with all the different parts, not only Phillips and the normal screwdriver heads and stuff like that, but everything you can imagine here. So with some kind of for instance, triangle stuff, and there is a lot more on this. I would show you, well, I'm not sure if you can see that. It's really, really a nice little tool set. I really like it, as you can see. A lot of stuff. Here is something you can use that if you have to demagnify or magnify something. We are not going to bring this close to one of the other stuff here, because of course we are working on a smartphone and we don't want to break anything on the motherboard here. But as you can see, this is the one I have chosen. It's a star part. I'm not sure what this is called in English, but it's more or less the head looks like a star. Sorry, here you go. Hope you can see that. And it's 5 at my place here. I think that's 5 millimeters or something, but I'm not really sure. And no, it can't be 5 millimeters. Maybe 0.5 or something, I'm not sure, millimeters. But in the end, this is going to be the size you need for your Lumia 950XL if you have to repair something. And this is really a great tool. I really got all of them out without any kind of problems, and it really worked nicely. After that, I used this kind of tool to clip out the motherboard. There are a couple of smaller plastic clips on there, nothing problematic or something. One thing you have to know is if you want to, for instance, get rid of the bracket here, you really have to use something like this too and go around it. And there is one clip below the camera, and that clip below the camera, hope you can see that, don't know, this one, the metal part there, this one really has to be opened by something like this. So just use that part and clip down below to one of those arms you see here, and then just try to get them out. You could use something like this, but this is of course better because like this you can really go down below and do just that. Really not much force or something, just put it out. After that you can get rid of the bracket. As you can see, this is a bracket we're not going to use. So after that you can just get that out. Here you can see the heat pipe, and there is even the pad on it, so the heat pad. And like that, this is more or less the bracket of the smartphone. But as mentioned before, we are not going to use this. It's a bad one. So I'm going to put that over here. And yeah, what we really want to do here is we want to get to separate the display from the motherboard in this case, because we need the display of this. And as you can see, here are a lot of different clips on there. Those are cables, and you really have to be very patient with them and try to get rid of them. That was not a cable. I'm going to put that back. I don't think we need to get rid of that. And we got it back. There we go. So as mentioned before, this is not really important, but be careful to not hurt those, because those are maybe from the display itself. And if they are connected to the display, we need them later on. So just take something like that. It should be not of metal, but of plastic or something like that. And then just try to get all of these, which are cables, up. Here you can see the same thing. This is a front-facing camera. I'm not sure where that is placed and if it's on the display or if it's somewhere else. So I opened them up. Here is another one. Not sure about that part at the moment. I don't think we have to get rid of that. That's on the motherboard itself. So everything is fine there. And after you did that, and hopefully I got everything we need here, we should be able to just put those a little bit up, like this. And then we should be able to just more or less get that one out. In some situations there's glue or something involved. I don't think that's the case in this part here. And as you can see, here goes the motherboard. We need to open that even further. Come on. Where are you? Here. Okay, I think we are pretty close now. Here's another problem with the camera itself. Not sure about that at the moment. There's a cable behind that, so we really should be very careful. Here is a headphone jack. We can put that out. I'm not sure about... Okay, the camera has to go with the part. That's fine. Put that next to that here. Okay, I think we now got it out. Here's our motherboard, as you can see, or here is more or less the processor probably, I'm not sure, but I think so. And here is a camera in there, and this is the part we are going to replace with the other part. Everything else can stay, and as you can see, those cables were very, very important. We needed to do it exactly like we did. Just to let you know, at the side here there's another one. I'm not sure if I showed you that before, and of course those kind of parts can stay, I think, because I don't think here is the other thing in there, so any kind of hard disk or SD chip or something is probably not over there. I think this is just the camera which is handled here. Okay, so this is a bad motherboard and there is our mark on it, so that's fine. Let's put that down. Not sure if I already have a good place for that. Let's okay, I'm going to leave it on this part. There we go. Okay, let's keep it there. And now let's have a look. We might need this later on. This is a headphone jack. So let's do the same thing with our other smartphone here. Now let's see. Bracket is a bad bracket too. I'm going to put that over here to the other part. You can't see that, but it's really just what I have already showed you. And now we are going to do the same thing we did here with the second part here. There is one really, really nice thing you could do with this, so that the different screws here stay at a place. If you, for instance, have a very, very wide kind of glue tape, or however that is called, you could use that, put it in, and just glue those little screws here on the ground so they're not moving or something. I'm just trying to leave it like it is. This is our good part, so we are going to put that over here for now, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did here with this smartphone. So first off, we are going to really get rid of all these little screws here. And as you can see, it's really, really very nicely fitting. Be a little bit careful if you do something like that, so that the screen, at least the good one, this is a bad one, so it's not that important. But if you have a good screen, you shouldn't move the smartphone very, very many times or something. And I'm just going to put those over here, doing the same thing. And I'm just going to go through all the screws here. And since this is the part we really want to keep, we really have to be cautious about it. So let's see if you can see that. There is this little bracket thing, and you really have to loosen that. Hopefully I can do that. Last time it worked out. Yeah. So just get that a little bit up, and then you can see there should be this little brick, or this little breach more or less, and you should be able to have a look at that. Be very careful with all you're doing here, of course. Okay, so we got this out, and here's our good motherboard, and of course this is a good bracket, so we're going to keep this too. I'm going to put that down next to the good screen more or less, and good motherboard. So what, oh yeah, that wasn't really helpful, but doesn't really matter. So let's try to put them back where they were. Okay, so next thing, I'm going to give this some kind of a sticker, so I know what I'm working on. So in the end, this is the good part again. Going to put it here for now. We are not going to leave it there. We are going to get rid of that later on. Let's put it here. So just in case you're wondering, get rid of that again if you are reassembling everything. But I'm just putting on a little smiley face, so I know this is a good part. The bad part is already over there, so you could determine that too, but whatever. Okay, now we have to loosen all the different connections here again. So we are starting with this one, for instance. Just push everything down a little bit, and then just very slightly move that out. As you can see, this is a front-facing camera, more or less. So be careful with that. We just have to loosen it there. And get that one out. Probably it already is out enough. So we might be able to do that already. Here's another part we need to get up. This is again our headphone jack. We're going to use this one because it was the one we have already used here, and I'm just going to put it here. Headphone jack as mentioned before. Everything else here is fine. Now let's have a look. I'm going to turn this around. Since this is a bad screen, I could do it in a pretty harsh way, but I'm not going to. Just be a little bit cautious nonetheless. Okay, so let's get that one up. As you can see, we have that connection there. We are going to loosen this one up too. Okay. None of those are somehow glued or something, so everything is pretty nicely done by Microsoft here. At least from what I can see. I'm of course not an expert for that, but very slightly just use something like this and get them off here. Okay, that is fine, that's fine, that is fine. We don't have to loosen that, as we already know. And here is not much to do neither. I think. Here is of course something, but that will stay with the motherboard, so everything is fine. We're just going to leave it in 2. Let's see if we can already get it out of these little parts here. So first off, here seems to be fine. Seems to be fine too. Okay, here we have to loosen it a little bit more. Okay. That's fine too. Be very careful. This is of course something very delicate. Okay, worked out pretty nicely. Okay. Since this is a bad part, I can just bend that a little bit more. I don't think it would be broken anyway, but by what I'm doing here, but just to make it a little bit easier for me, I can put in a little bit more force in this case. Okay, this one seems to be free. Let's see where it is holding on. It goes somewhere. I have some kind of a force against me here. Let's see, what is it? That part? Is it that part? No. It could be the camera at this place. But no, that's not where it's located from. I think it's a little bit glued to that part. Do I have to open that? Something is below that. Yeah, I can see it. Okay, that is the heat pipe stuff. So maybe I have to get all of that up. Here there's a heat pipe going on. So I would have preferred it not to do that. I'm not sure, how did I get rid of that here? Did I just break it? Let's see. Not really. I don't see that I have killed something here. Oh, but I think it's from down below there is a connection, and that might be the case here. That's what I'm seeing. Down below. Yeah, I can see something there. Yeah, okay. Got it? As you can see, there is a connection at this place. And this one is put in from down below, so you really have to open that first. Bed screen, so we can leave it over here, for instance. Let's see, what was that? Was it a bed bracket? We are going to leave it here too. This is a good motherboard, everything we need in the end. And of course it's from this part, it doesn't matter now. You can leave it here. This is a bad one, this is a good one, but in the end it's both the same, so it shouldn't make any difference. Here's a bracket we're going to use. Here is a good screen we're putting it on. So let's see if we can do everything. Here you can see the connection there, which we had. So let's try that out. I'm just going to put this down at this place and going to position that one in hopefully the right way. Be very cautious about it. Here, of course, we have the connectors which need to stay up. It's always a little bit troublesome in these cases. So make sure that everything that should be over the motherboard, of course, like these connectors and this one, of course, is really staying where it is. This one needs to go in later on too, but that should be fine too. I think we positioned it pretty nicely already. Okay, so push pushing this down a little bit. And just make sure that you really do it very precisely and everything fits in nicely. Okay, here we have a connector which got a little bit pushed down too much. Come on, get out there. Okay, that's fine. And I think this should snap into place if we are just applying a little bit of force, not too much of course, very slightly. And of course be careful, there are all these small little fuse parts there and all the small little electronic roads. Not sure what the name for that is in English, but all of those of course shouldn't be touched with anything if you can, so just put pressure and stuff like that on the green parts, not on the golden parts here. After that we are just going to reassemble everything now. So first off, I could of course, should we? No. Those motherboards here are really only held in place by some kind of small little clips. So make sure those clips are in. Here is one, for instance, and at this point, probably something here, I'm not sure about that. And of course from this side is one too, but if you have all of those already loosened, it should be fine. Okay, now let's put back the connections, be very careful about that too, because those are of course very important for us. The good thing is, if you placed it in the right way, they should more or less slide in more or less easily. Push them down. You can use your thumb or something if you're pressing from the outside, that's fine. I like my thumb, for instance, for that, because I have of course a soft finger here, and so I can just move it a little bit forth and back, for instance. Of course not on the parts, but just if you feel there's a little bit of tension there, just move them a little bit, so they are going to be put in there. And because your finger is that soft, there's nothing going to kill it or something. Of course, be very careful, don't touch too much. In a real factory or something, of course they would use some kind of gloves or something. I don't have them here. So if you are somebody who is really keen on using creams or something on their hands, then really be very careful about that. Don't do it then. For me, I have pretty dry skin, so it should be fine. So not much of fat on there. I'm not sure if I have, no, it's not connected till now. Come on. That one is a little bit harder. I'm trying to do everything here in a more or less non-destructive way. As you can see, I killed most of my screws here, but as mentioned before, not that important. Okay, now I got it. Very slightly with my plastic part here, but that's fine. Okay, next part is of course our camera, which has the front-facing camera, which has a connection to and needs to slide in there. Let's see if I can put it back in. Okay, and we of course need to get this connection assembled too. One is a little bit hard to do. Maybe I need something to push it. Ah no, there is a little part in there that should be okay, but come on. Slide in. You don't need much power, so if you're pressing, it's probably not at the right position. If you're really pressing and nothing is happening. So you pretty easily can see that already before you're doing something too much pressure is needed for. Really a little bit on the hard side to get that in. I see what's happening there. In the end we would need a little bit too sharp for my taste, but okay. We need some kind of a bow there. Not sure if that helped already. Oh, come on. Don't fight with me. Okay, I think we got it in. I didn't feel much of it, but it looks pretty good. If I have a look at the side here, I would say that's fine. Okay, later on there's a connection too. We don't see it now, but it might be used later on. Okay, and as you can see, I think we are through now. I'm just having a look for the little clips that all of them are in there. I think that is the case, and I can easily access all the different. Yeah, I can easily access all the different screws here. None of those seems to be somehow slided, or that I can't use the whole hole. Interesting. And so that should be fine. Now we are going to put back on the bracket with all the different things here. As you can see, let's have a look what is going to be placed there. It's that part. Okay, probably. What is going to be connected? Okay, that part is connected there. So those two are going to be placed over these. I'm not sure what they are doing there. Maybe for accessories or something. I'm not sure. So let's put this back on. Again, just make sure it slides on pretty easily. And I'm going to press it down a little bit. Not sure if it all was placed by the screws, but seems a little bit like that. I don't hear anything that is clipping in or something. I can't see neither. But that should be later on then. First off, we of course need to include the headphone jack again. So that one needs to go in here too. I was close to leaving it out. In the end, I think both are more or less the same in this case. Let's see if I can see something about that. Just trying to find out which is a better one. I think one is more worn down, so I'm going to use this one. This one is just a little bit tidier and not that. Doesn't look that used. So let's put that one in there. Push it down, and now we just have to put in the connection again. Did that already work? I think so. That seems to be connected too, and seems to be pretty nice. Let's try again just to make sure that it really is connected. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, So, I think we got everything, right? Only that one was out there. That looked fine. Now we need to put on the bracket again. I'm not even sure if we could start it now, but I'm not going to, because here is a heat pipe, as you can see, all over here. That's all heat pipe, and so I don't want the CPU or something to burn through. And probably there is some kind of a connection checker or something too, maybe that one or something, that is really telling the motherboard not to go on if that bracket is not placed in place or something. But we will see. Okay, so this would go on now, and as mentioned before, we're not leaving this sticker on, so let's get that back off there. We could, very likely, but I'm not going to leave it there, otherwise maybe it's getting hot or doing something bad there. So just get it off and put this one up again. As mentioned before, I would like to that they clip in or something, but on the other hand it's bad if they do, because then it's very hard to get all of them out. So now let's start with those two. I'm not sure if there is some kind of an order we have to think about here. Pressure away. Now we are going to put in our battery again, slide it down below, put it in. I will put it to the wall mount, but it seems like it's loading now, so let's see if that worked out and everything is nicely done now. But as it looks, it's a little bit promising. I will check the screws again just to make sure that all of those are put in the right direction and really like it should be. We are going to put on a new cover. So the old one, it's one of the nicest I ever had, but as you can see, we have these kind of used marks on it, and that button is really very in there. As you can see, it's lower than the other ones, and so we are going to switch it off. I have two more. I have a leather one, which is this one, and I have another wood one, a darker wood color. Sorry, here we go. Those two, and I would say you are deciding which one I should put on there. So let me know what you think. Which one should it be? Down in the comments, of course, just write it and we will just vote for it, and I will have a look which one is the better one then, and which one has won, of course. Yeah, and that was how I replaced the motherboard of my smartphone, so it was functional again, and I was happy, of course, and it's working very nicely since then, and I would be very upset if it wouldn't, but the good thing is, it does, and as you already know, I have a couple of episodes since the incident there, and it works great. So, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, of course, don't miss that. And if, of course, you want to know more about stuff like that, please subscribe to the channel. You are going to be notified about any other new videos. If you want to watch more of the normal stuff, please head over to the normal episode. And other than that, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. If you have any kind of questions, put them down below in the commentary section. Don't forget to vote too. And other than that, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. See you in the next episode, and bye.